Chamber, if you'll please rise for the pledge and stay standing for the invocation. Pastor Pat.
Hey everyone. One of the largest parades watched in the United States is the Tournament of Roses, the Rose Bowl parade. And years ago, the parade came to a complete halt. Right near the front, one of the vehicles stalled out. It ran out of gas. The irony was it was the Standard Oil Company, one of the largest suppliers of oil and gas in the world. I believe that through you and the power of prayer, we can keep things going. Don't stall out in doing good and trying your best and being the best. Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for today, another opportunity to follow through with the promises that we've given to ourselves and to our city and to our families. But we're asking for help. Lord, help for strength for leaders that serve us every day. Put it on the line, stand before us today. And Lord, we're asking for each person to be encouraged and strengthened, that needs will be met through the little things that we do for each other. And we thank you. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Mike, if you'll take the roll, please.
All righty. Councilman Lloyd. Here. Councilman Schlack.
Present.
Councilman Barr.
Here.
Councilman Marcos.
Here.
Councilman Valeris.
Here.
Councilwoman Nick.
Here.
Treasurer Estheimer.
Present.
And Mayor McLeod.
Here.
We have a quorum, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Schlack. Second by Mr. Barr. Any corrections or changes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of January 14th?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Marcos. Second. Second by Ms. Nick. Any changes or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. We will now have a presentation from our city auditors, Plante, Moran, and following that, we will accept and file. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Bill Brickey with Plante Moran, the partner on your audit. And with me today is James Hopla, and we're just going to give a brief summary of some of the audit highlights tonight. So really there's three separate, I'd say, required audit deliverables we have. We have the financial statements, we have a report to you on your compliance with federal grants, and finally we have a report to Mayor and Council. We obviously have covered these in detail at the study session, and we're just going to provide some brief comments related to these documents. So as your auditor, the main deliverable I provide you is our opinion on your financial statements. It's included in the statements on page 1. The city did receive an unmodified audit opinion, again in the current year, which essentially means we're attesting that these numbers are materially correct and that the statements are in compliance with all the rules and regulations. So that's often what we refer to as a clean opinion. So on the financial statements, you did receive that. In addition to that, we also issued a compliance report on your compliance with the requirements of the American Rescue Plan funds that you spent in the current year. So in the current year, the city did spend just over $1.2 million of American Rescue Plan funds on a variety of capital projects. We did audit that and issued a clean opinion saying that you did spend those monies in compliance with the American Rescue Plan rules and regulations. So again, two clean opinions on those. In addition to that, we do issue our report to Mayor and Council on any internal control related matters. We did have one internal control related finding in the current year, and essentially related to the fact that we did identify and help the city kind of close the books and record various adjusting journal entries. This was a direct result of some turnover in the finance department. The details of that finding can be seen on page 1 of that report to Mayor and Council. But again, overall, the main thing is you got the two clean opinions on both the financial statement audit and your compliance with the grant requirements. So with that, I'm going to call James up. We're going to spend just a minute and go through a graph presentation, which is going to highlight some of the financial results of the general fund in the current year.
Thank you. Good evening. So without further ado, we'll get back into these graphs. So this first graph presents the general fund's revenue for the current and prior year. Total revenue was up $878,000, or roughly 3.4%. As you can see, the city's largest source of revenue is property tax, which increased roughly $938,000, or 6% from the prior year. That increase approximates the increase in the city's taxable value. As you look through the other components of the revenue groupings, the remaining components themselves were relatively stable from the previous year. Moving on to the next slide, this next graph presents the general fund's expenditures for the current and prior year. Expenditures were down $17,000, so really it was an extremely consistent year overall. Looking at these breakouts high level, there really haven't been any significant changes to the cost structure of the city's general fund. As you can see, total expenditures have remained relatively consistent in the past year, both in total and by component. Transfers out, debt service, and capital outlay make up that top line and had the largest change, which was a decrease of $881,000, and $880,000 of that decrease was related to less transfers made this year. Public safety did increase by $582,000, and that was mostly due to your OPEB expense, retiree healthcare, and some increases to wages. For the current year, no department expenditures were significantly over budget, which means that the department heads are operating as approved by City Council. This next chart displays a breakout of the general fund's expenditures by amount spent on each city function. In comparing this chart to last year's, Allen Park has been extremely consistent in what they're spending their money on. None of these pieces of this pie fluctuated more than 2% outside of that transfer slice, which we had just discussed, and that dropped about 4%. Like most local units of government, public safety made up the largest chunk of the expenditures at 47% in this past year. Finally, the last slide presents the general fund's fund balance for the current year and prior year. During 2024, total fund balance increased just under $2 million. The four components of fund balance this year were unassigned, assigned, restricted, and non-spendable. The non-spendable portion represents the prepaid funds for expenses in fiscal year 2025. The restricted fund balance represents funds designated for a specific function. The $627,000 here were restricted for debt service. Assigned fund balance is funds intended to be used by the city for a specific purpose. In the city's case this year, that was for capital projects. And then finally, the unassigned fund balance represents the resources available to the city. The 2024 unassigned fund balance of $4.9 million is approximately 20% of total 2024 general fund expenditures and transfers out. With that, we've reached the end of the slideshow. If there's any questions, happy to answer those.
If there's no questions, I will take a motion to accept and file the audit report.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Valerius. Second. Second by Ms. Nick. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. If you gentlemen want to
hang out for the rest
you
of
may
the
do
time.
so.
Thank you.
We'll let you unplug and thank you. Tim missed you. We'll now move on to organizational business, and the first order will be the appointments to Festivities and the Historical Commission. I am recommending the following appointments for your approval. All terms will expire as of December 31st of the year shown. To Festivities Commission, Steve Donahue, who is returning to his previous position, whose term will end on 2025. Donna Hauser, who's filling an unexpired term, her term will end 2026. Kendra Kiranen is filling an unexpired term, her term will end 2026. Sandra Dudek is filling an unexpired term, her term will end 2026. And Steph Blackburn is filling a vacancy and her term will end 2027. On the Historical Commission, I am appointing Kelly Jones, who is filling an unexpired term. Her term will end at 2025. I have a motion, please. Motion by Ms. Nick.
Second.
Second by Mr. Barr. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Will the individuals who are here please come up to be recognized and sworn in?
All right, I'm going to swear you in. I'm just going to ask that you raise your right hand. You don't have to repeat after me. Just at the end, say I do, I swear, I affirm, whatever you feel most comfortable with, okay? Do you solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Michigan, and that you will endeavor to secure and maintain an honest and efficient administration of the affairs of the city of Allen Park, free from partisan distinction, control, and that you will perform the duties of Historical and Festivities Commissioner to the best of your abilities, so help you God. All right, congratulations.
Thank you, Mike. We'll move on to the next order, and that is the City Treasurer's Report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Council, citizens, I have 3 items for you tonight. Number 1, the 2024 summer and winter taxes. They're still being collected. The due date's February 14th, and after that, there's a 3% fee that will be added. You'll be able to pay those city taxes until right here at City Hall until the end of February. On March 1st, all delinquent tax accounts are turned over to Wayne County. They make us whole. They handle the collections at that point. If you have any payment arrangements or questions after March 1st, that would be handled with them. Any payments or circumstances that you have with us, that's all expires as of the 14th. That's the last day that you can make your payment without penalty. Number 2, reminder, if you signed up for ACH to pay your winter taxes, Mayor, I know you're on that list, they'll be automatically deducted from your bank account on or before February 14th. And number 3, last week, I know y'all missed me. I attended a winter workshop training with the Michigan Mutual Treasurers Association in Lansing. Received some great training on a number of topics. I'm grateful for the membership in this organization and the networking and training it provides. My next training will be coming up in the spring. And that'll put me one step closer to earning my Michigan Certified Public Treasurer certification. And this keeps me on track to receiving that certification by the end of my first term as your treasurer. With the staffing issues we've had, experience in the finance department, the training received in networking these organizations I belong to have provided, and the training they provided has been invaluable. And with that, I yield. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is the Parks and Recreation public hearing and adoption of the 5-year master plan.
Good evening. There's a common theme between the department heads that we get 2 minutes, but it's going to take a little longer than that. But we'll get you out of here shortly. Thank you for allowing me to present this. To look at the 5-year plan, it's my first run at this, but it gives us a roadmap. It gives us great insight from the public. I feel like we had a low number of responses, just based on from the 24, the one that just expired at the end of 24. And in saying that, but when I saw the responses, it gives me a roadmap. So it gives Kyle and Evan and our department an opportunity to go out to the public and say, what do you really need? What are the highest needs? Well, obviously, we know we're gonna have some fluctuations. We're gonna have to throw an audible at the line. God rest the Lions this year, right, Dennis? But by doing that, we have to be able to do it financially. So we're gonna have some things that will be crunch time financially as we go into budget talks moving forward in the next 90 days. But when I looked at this, and Kyle and Evan and I sat down, I'm like, wow, we've done a lot. And there's times that it doesn't feel like we did, but boy, have we. So, not to vomit all the positive, but we're pretty proud of what we've done. So, I could jump right to page 79 with all the highlights that are in your binder. Hopefully you did receive the binder. I know you got it electronically, but there's a hard copy in your mailbox if you hadn't had a chance to get to it yet. However, a few things to say first. This information is needed for us to move forward with our grant applications, no matter where we apply for the monies. They want this as a supplement. 2, it's that roadmap for us. 3, Emily Ellis, she's a Wayne State student. She had a lot to do with this, so I want to give her some props as well. She put it together through Google Docs, and thank goodness there's people out there who have a lot of credibility in the world of IT. So we want to give her that. The staff at the rec center. Jim Gross from the clerk's office. Jim gave us all the information and the links through SEMCOG. When you look at some of the information in the packet, the SEMCOG information is either missing for the time being, or it was old. It wasn't updated. I guess that's being redundant, so it's old and updated. We did the best we could with what we had from SEMCOG in order to use this to put this together for the questions to the public. We try to be very proactive, but there's a lot of times we have to be reactive within both departments, the rec center and the parks, whether it's equipment, HVAC, an aging unit there. But I think 2 of the biggest hits that we've been able to do without any taxpayer dollars, you heard Plante Moran refer to it as well, the bleachers in the arena and Champaign Park parking lot. Those were probably 2 of the biggest victories we've had within the last 18 months. When the lifelongers know that Champaign Park parking lot has been an albatross for many, many moons, right? We got lucky in working with the DPS department and a retiree in Bill Miner. We were able to find many, many things that changed the complexion of a financial burden that became doable with a lot less money. So that's our goal, is to use as many grants as we possibly can. Mr. Murray will reflect on this when we talk about what we're gonna move forward with here with SMART and the RTA. Tom will talk about that. But in the meantime, we continue to look at our ADA issues within the parks as well. We've complied all the way through the arena now. We have an ADA compliant door, and all the new bleachers are now accessible for ADA individuals. It doesn't necessarily mean a wheelchair, but it could be any other apparatus that they need or required to get through the bleachers. Those are continuous looks. We've added in at Cunningham Park. We've added the Champaign Park. We're gaining access into our shelters and the bleachers for fans and visitors to the community. So, 2 remaining baseball diamonds out of 12. That's all we've got left. That's in the capital budget for this year that'll expire at the end of June. That's Cunningham Park and Real Park. And those ball diamonds, with the 2 remaining, we're gonna take in some upfront expense for sure. But our ROI on those will be a lot less when we've been quoted. Deputy Director Kyle, or Mr. Carr, he's been told that we can use between $3 and $5 grand to recondition these diamonds every 3 years. So in saying so, Champaign Park, we use Wayne County millage money. We were able to get 2 years back to back on that. So we may not be able to get some Wayne County from Commissioner Palomera like within the next fiscal, but he's on the radar for 26, 27, at least on our pages, on our calendars. Now, that's cute, that's key for us, because if we can shorten the term to turn around the diamonds, because APAC uses those, the high school uses them, Intercity Baptist uses them. When I say the high school, it's Allen Park High School. Cabrini uses our facilities too. There's a shared field at Pretty that was redone in the last 2 years. That was a collaboration between, and this will show the collaboration we have within the community and the department. It was APAC, Allen Park Athletic Club, the school district, and Parks Recreation fenced it and redid the entire Pretty Family Park. So again, that'll show the collaboration, the pride we have with that. There's 19 parks in the city. 7.1 miles, it's pretty doggone good, easy to find. 3 parks remain to be done. Rourke Park, Gingham Dog, and Brand. Those 3 are on our radar. Again, it's gonna take financials, right? We know that. However, in saying that, we've got options, we've got a strong budget, and we're pretty darn good at our budget too. So we feel we can get some of this accomplished in the next 5 years. If I'm standing here still, that means I didn't retire, but maybe Kyle can talk about it. But in saying that, that's our goal over the next 5 years, to get those 3 parks done, whether it's Wayne County money, grant money, any other monies we can absorb without hitting the taxpayers. Our programs for seniors have increased. Our playscapes out in the areas have gotten a lot of attention because we switched those to the safety tiles. Some parks remain with the engineered wood fiber, but that we replace annually. We've had some help, again, collaboration with the Rotary, which is Millward Park also. They've adopted that park. It's been replaced at Duda Park, the flooring. So in saying that, if you fast forward to page 47, sound like an auditor when they're giving you the page numbers, right? There's no way Rob could do that. So page 47, one of the things that, the question 5A right at the top, we talked about the parks. We asked the public, we said, hey, 1 being low, 5 being high, how would you rate our parks? Of course, when you put these out to the public, you better wear a suit of armor at times. But in looking at this, when we see the green scale, number 4, that's pretty doggone good for us, because we can't hit a home run, it's not utopia, right? We're not gonna hit a home run every at bat. The programs, those have increased, whether it's been senior activities, youth activities with our summer programs like Lemonade in the Shade, mobile recreation. We've actually incorporated Steve Donahue with the balloons in our parks. We've also got a little one-man band that comes 3 times a year and does our Lemonade in the Shade for the youth. The facilities. So right there you see the highest ranking is in the middle. It's a number 3. Right next to it is a number 4 in our facilities, which increases us, it takes us up a notch. By saying that, we have an aging infrastructure on the ice arena side. We know we're gonna need help in the next few years, or a little bit longer. We kind of limp along with that, whether it's software or it's just the aging HVAC. We spent a lot of time and money being very proactive in the arena. That was built in the 70s, just to give you an identifier. So we know that that could be part of the facilities. Facilities doesn't necessarily mean just the ice arena or the community center. But when I think of the community center, we've increased our awareness. We rent probably 20, 25 times a month in our multi-purpose rooms. It's only 30 days, right, in most months. How many months of the year have 28 days? All of them. Just little dad humor. I was trying to be like Dennis today. I just want to take a little bit. So anyway. So in saying that, everything's been converted to LEDs in the gymnasium, the ice arena, the multi-purpose rooms, the lobby. We've seen a savings and a decrease in our utility bill. That's one objective, because LED, there's a 10-year shelf life, so that'd be good as well. Page 51, question number 9. This kind of got my attention a little bit. It was a little bit different than what I anticipated in this particular question, but the children playscapes, or excuse me, play spaces, that's increased because we do have the tot lots out there, right? The highest use of a tot lot is Duda Park, some know as the Barney Park. We will never remove Barney unless there's an absolute problem, okay? And we just like at Moore Park, we will not take away the submarine. We're gonna try and keep that as long as we possibly can. So we know there's some landmarks like Rusty, right? The athletics and sports, 53%. I think that's an awareness with our collaboration with APAC, our growth with the Allen Park Hockey Association, our growth with the school district, where we're basically feeding more people out of our rec basketball program into the district. So that's been a strong play for us. Page 52, right next to it, please. Question 11, what amenities would you like to see added to our parks? We know there's 3 parks remaining. We know we have to get to those. You have a commitment from us, we will get those, just a timing factor. When I look at this, 2 of the hottest topics that we've seen probably over the last 12 months has been skate parks and dog parks. So if you look at the top, you see the skateboard park. Out of the 4 categories of high priority, medium, low, and not needed, it registered as a low priority. Again, there's some value to that, but also remember, we had a lower amount of responses. So if we had 63, only maybe 50 or 40 may have responded to this for clarity, right? But it got my attention because I thought there was a little bit more need for that. But in looking at the dog park, they show a high priority in this scale. It also, if you slide to the left, the pickleball courts, that's a high priority. With the help of DDA at Real Park, we were able to secure 4 brand-new pickleball courts and a brand-new tennis court. It was unused space. It was basically destined to be taken up and crumbled out. Or, Tom, what do you call it when they come through and they, yeah, shave and pave. So that was DDA-sponsored money. We've got pickleball courts. We've got one at Sudman. We've got other pickleball courts, again, through the collaboration with DDA at Community Park. Some folks know it as Gahona. So when I saw that, I thought, I feel a little bit ahead of the game with the pickleball, right? Because you all know it's a growing sport. We have 4 courts inside the gymnasium at the center. If you look all the way to the bottom, a high priority is playground equipment. I think we've tackled that. And what I said, we have 3 parks to go. I think it's pretty strong out of 19. And some may think otherwise, but like I said, we're gonna get there. The one thing I know we need to do a better job at for sure is our communication to our seniors. We talked about it last night in our Recreation Commission meeting. How can we communicate more to our seniors, even though we've opened up more of an offering to them, whether it's going to MGM Grand, we visited the Big House, we've gone down to the train station, so we've done some things like that. So the fast solution would be now, I believe, through Deb and Angela, there's an opportunity we could use WOW and or cable Comcast. So that could be an option. The other factor was we've got 2 senior housing units, right? Paluch and Maple Heights. So maybe once in a while we go in there with our flyers just to highlight it. The difficulty is we have to cap some of those trips because we have a 12-seater bus that we own. So you can't put somebody else as a 13th. We have to count the driver in that too. Plus there's no bathroom facility on those buses. So we have to be somewhat cautious of how far we travel. But by increasing that, I think we have to have more awareness. So there are a few ideas that we'll tweak along the way. So that's really kind of me kind of running to give you a high-level overview. We're very proud. What did Pastor Bazio say? We're not gonna stall. So I'll steal his prayer for the time being, so.
So Rob, in these, I see a lot of people mention a pool. Do we have some type of agreement with the schools maybe to use their pools?
We haven't addressed that in a long time with them. Part of it was lifeguarding and part of it was staffing. Whether who would staff it, the school district or Parks and Recreation or the city. But we do have a relationship that hasn't been really tackled in a long time with Park Colony, thank you. So if you become a member of our the fitness center, you can have a pool membership with that. So we really haven't touched that either in a long time. But it's something we'll revisit and maybe introduce ourselves back to the pool, so.
And then another question, I know we used to have a lot of rentals for parties. Is that still high?
Yeah, when I referred earlier to the multi-purpose rooms, that's where that number comes from. If we're doing 20 to 22 a month in only 30 days, obviously, and we're closed some of those days with holidays, that's increased a lot. Yeah, a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I was gonna say, you guys got big shoes to follow, but it's your own shoes.
That's right. Size 10s, we'll get it, Dennis. You bet. All set?
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
And with that, I will, I didn't get into the fact that, that playground equipment is very, very expensive and not something you go into Home Depot or Lowe's to get. And I think we should be very proud of the fact that the strides that we've made to make those ADA accessible. And we'll continue to work on that. And with that, may I have a motion to accept and file the master plan, I'm sorry, I have to have a public hearing. If anyone from the public would like to come up and comment on the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, please do that. I'm at the wrong line.
Good evening, City Council Mayor. I really want to thank you all, and I want to thank Rob Fulton for one heck of a great report. I think that's what we need more often. You get the citizens involved, they know exactly what's happening, and they know where their money's going. This is what I believe every department needs to do, and I know it's almost required. But I want to thank the Parks and Recs for what they have done in the past. They've done a lot for us. I'm going to tell you one thing I really enjoy seeing. I enjoy going to the ice arena. I really do. When I go in there, I know it is a hockey arena. You guys not only use it as a hockey arena, it's used, I like to see it maybe start to be open up for open skate and skate rental there. That will help us citizens also and some of our youth. But when I go in there, I see banners. And those banners mean a lot. They mean a lot to the residents who put out a lot of money to support their children, their kids, and also the grandparents. I'm one of them. I know what it cost. But you know what? My grandson does not go to like Allen Park. He comes here to play. And when I go into his arena, I have no idea they play hockey there. So those banners are very, very important. They recognize the kids. And one day, those children, those kids, are young adults. Within the next couple years, even though they're just going to be graduating, they're going to start having children. Scary, ain't it? But they're going to become adults. And when they go into that arena, they can point to that banner and says, I was one of them. Very important. So with that, I want to thank you very much. And thank you for giving us, we the citizens, an opportunity to come up here. And yes, you all know, I was involved in putting 5 playscapes together. And doing that, I really enjoyed that. I involved. I didn't only come up here and say a couple of things. I learned that I had to be involved, and I think that's what we need more of. But with that, thank you very much, and have a great day.
Thank you, Ray. Yeah, Ray, we moved a lot of mulch, didn't we?
Good evening, everyone. I've been invited, to visit a Parks and Rec meeting of the committee, and I just simply haven't had the time. So this has been like a miracle because I just came tonight, not knowing that was going on, the presentation. So my big plea, and I'll try and keep it really tight, is I personally think that the seniors in Allen Park, given our tax dollars, are helping support all kinds of stuff that we don't use. And I'm happy to do that. But what we get is a membership to the gym. And frankly, I think it should be free, but we will pay the gym fee. It limits for a couple, you get and it has to be like a married couple, and it just is kind of mind-boggling because why? And I'll shift it and say, I just would like to see a flex membership for seniors so that I can call my son and say, come over here and get your dad and take him to the gym and walk. It's really important to the seniors to be able to have a controlled climate place to walk. I've known people, seen them fall on the sidewalk, and then they stay home because they're afraid. They're laying there, a passerby picks them up, takes them home. They're humiliated, and they're scared because they have to go out. Where if you're in the facility, you can walk, somebody's there. If you take your person, it could be your grandkid, it could be your son or daughter, could be a neighbor. We should be able to have a flex membership. Just like Greenfield Village. They don't tell you, when you buy a membership, they don't say, can only be a husband and wife, only be a husband and wife. So I'm pleading that for the little bit, the programs got whittled away at the rec center in general when we went through our crisis. And I see it gradually built up, and I'm thrilled to see that. I'm thrilled to see that we're considering dog runs and skate parks. And I'm saying, please, for God's sake, could we just seniors have a place to stink and walk? Thanks.
There's no one else coming up. We will close public hearing, and I will ask for a motion to adopt the Parks and Recreation 5-year master plan.
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Valerius, second by Mr. Marcos. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Plan is approved. We'll now move on to the interim city administrator's report.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and fellow residents. Parks and Rec Director Rob Fulton is applying for a grant through the Regional Transit Authority for 2 new smart buses in fiscal years 25 and 26. This grant awards 80% with 20% match from the city. However, the 20% is covered for the cities under MDOT, so the city will have no out-of-pocket cost. Ben Hughes and Matt Baker have helped secure the Jong Duke. From my understanding, they make commercial coffee makers. A company who will be established in their North American headquarters in Allen Park on Federal Drive. This move will take place in June this year and will create 58 new jobs in light manufacturing and administration. Ben and Matt also helped secure Rapid Scripts, who will open a facility on Federal Drive. Rapid Scripts is a company that designs and manufactures medication dispensing equipment for hospitals and pharmacies. This will create 4 new jobs with great potential to expand their business here in Allen Park. There is a fire inspectors conference at Soaring Eagle Convention Center March 11th through the 13th. Chief O'Reilly, Deputy Chief Eric Taylor, Captain Ken McLaren, Lieutenant Jim Kalusk, and Sergeant Mike Stetz will be attending this conference. In securing a favorable bid for the road construction of Manor, we will now be able to add 1 more block to the road reconstruction of Manor. That will be from Moore to Malon. Thank you.
Thank you. And just for clarification, where exactly is Federal Drive?
Federal Drive is between Oakwood and Outer Drive. It's by the Lions facility, actually, the headquarters.
Yeah, that little peninsula that
Yep.
You forget, it's in Allen Park. Thank you. May I have a motion to accept and file the administrator's report?
Mayor, can I ask a question before you, or after that, please? Thank you.
Motion to accept and file, Mr. Barr, second by Ms. Nick. Comments or questions?
Sorry. Mr. Murray, the Manor Road construction, that ends, is there plans to do the rest of that block?
Not for this year. The funding that we had originally was only going to be, with our estimate, 2 more from Leslie. Those are the 2 worst blocks when you look at them. And then we got a favorable bid that the amount of money difference between what we have available and what the bid came in gave us the opportunity to do the next block.
So the plan is to budget those into next year, if possible?
We don't know when we're going to do that. I don't want to commit, for the reason being that every winter we do an assessment as spring comes. Some roads due to winter can become worse than others. And we also have to, because this is money that we get mills for specifically, we want to spread it around the city, not just continue to do it in the same spot over and over. So next year may be a different block. That last block may be added. I can't say it won't, but at this time we won't commit to what the next year's after that is.
Thank you.
Yeah. I know that it's been the practice ever since I've been on council that every quadrant of the city gets road repairs because everybody in the city is a taxpayer. And I think if you just focused on simply this is the worst road, you might concentrate all your money in one section of the city, and that would not be fair to all the taxpayers. So I think over the years, there's always been the focus to pick the worst roads in each quadrant so that every taxpayer sees something for what they're paying. There's no further questions. May I have the vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. We now move on to public comments. We ask that you give us your name and the street on which you live. Do not provide the full address. And you have 4 minutes to speak, and all we ask is that you be civil.
Hey, good morning, good evening. Mayor, City Council, Ray McGusson Quant.
We're going to have to change your name, right?
Yeah, I know. Someone asked me that just the other day in a grocery store. My last name was Quant. I said no. Tom, I know you're going to go ahead and become our new city administrator. You deserve it. I will say that. You are a resident of Allen Park, which makes a big difference. Because you're going to know, and you do know, what the city needs. But with that said, there's a couple things. I want you to really go and really try very hard, and I know you will, that all departments will try to get as much grants as they can. And try to get it in as fast as they can. Because I just heard, and everyone, I don't know if you heard, the man just said that all grants and all that has been stopped to all cities. So that means the funding, even the ones that are funded, are going to be stopped. So I don't know where that money is going to be coming from. But I also know that a federal judge turned around and put a block on it. Thank him. But there might be another judge out there that might overrule that judge. But with that said, let's continue getting those grant money. We need it. We, the citizens, and myself, I don't want no more taxes coming out of me. I don't need you guys to sit there and say you need to raise my taxes anymore. You raised up my Headley, no more left. I just heard the audit. Dang, we're doing pretty dang good. You don't need to come after us no more. Can't afford it. House is too expensive. Property tax is way too much. And every time my house goes up, I just found out something. My insurance is based on 1% of what my house value is. So I just got raised quite a substantial amount of money. And not only that is, they told me that my amount that I just got ain't enough to cover my house because my house value just gone up so much. I want you to all think about that. What's really happening? I like to have the citizens given that extra 1 minute. I asked their last meeting, and I'll come up for every single meeting. I'm going to be asking for that. I don't see what the big deal is. I really and truly don't. I like to see the kids from the high school come up with their questions. It's very, very important. That way they get involved. I thanked Tom, and I thanked Rob, but I'm going to thank the whole Park and Rec and every department here. And I'm really going to thank all the citizens, hardworking citizens, retired citizens, are paying their taxes. With that, I want you all to have a great day. Weather has warmed up. We can see some sun, so we can put a smile on some of our faces. But thank you all. And I also want to thank all the hard-working commissioners out there that keep this city going also. With that, thank you very much. Have a great day.
This is like a double feature night. Kathy Milberg on Park. So I want to just thank all of you for what you do. And I in particularly would like to recognize our mayor for all the things that she does in terms of I go to this meeting and that meeting. And there she is sitting in the back quietly. She doesn't come in and make a big deal or anything, and pays attention and knows really what's going on and is helpful, you know, without sticking her nose in too much. But at any rate, I just wanted to also say, I came and I'll ask for senior programming in particular, but I don't come with empty hands. I helped write the letter of interest for the roof on the recreation center. I'm willing to, and I've said this before, and I think people think I want money for it. No, I've written millions of dollars of grants, secured them. And so I'm willing to work with departments to help bring in that money. I was a US EPA grant reviewer for like 6 years, and so I know what they're looking for when they're reviewing, and so how you have to present it. And I think that those skills would be useful to the folks here. So I'm willing to, you know, roll up my sleeves and help out. And I think together, you know, this is such a vast improvement. You just have to be so excited over several years ago when we had a city manager or whatever. I can't, my brain is so opposed to it. I can't even bring up the title. But now we've got it and we've taken the reins and we're doing better, and let's just keep doing that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Charles Blowns Champagne. A couple things. First off, Happy New Year. The first thing, I would hope that someone, I know this is not a city project, and then there was some word going out on the city government page about I believe it's DT, going on people's yards and doing a I don't know what it's called, fiber thing, whatever. But what I really hope, whether it's our ordinance officer or someone, to watch what they're doing, especially I was driving by Park Avenue, the curbs, because I really hope it doesn't have an issue where in the future where they crumble the brand new road that we just paid or just did. Same with if they go down towards Rosedale, we just did that twice. Something just to really look into, to make sure that they're not hurting our streets that we just took care of in the last 4 years of doing, and longer. So that's the first thing. Second thing, we did get some new volunteers for the the festivities and historical. Glad to see all the volunteers helping. One person I want to give a shout out, and Nancy, if you can help me with the last name, Barb, that was on historical. Forensic. Yes. So she has been on historical for many, many, many years, and I just want to thank her for all the volunteers she has done for that commission as past liaison for historical, and where she has helped with the plants in the house and also making sure that's taken care of. But again, I just want to give a shout out to her for all the years she's done for the Historical Commission. And then lastly, when back in the day, I used to always say, support your local businesses. Just a New Year's task for each and every one of you at the next meeting or each meeting. At your council comments, we always say thank you to the department heads and all that stuff. I really want to hear about a business you went to or something new happening. For instance, example, last week or a couple weeks ago, the Glass Onion, it was their 9-year anniversary. So something to highlight the local businesses, even if they're not part of the DDA section, just in the city, just something to highlight so that people who are watching these meetings be like, oh, where's that at? Or, oh, let me look it up. And also so that we can keep supporting Allen Park, as everyone always says, Allen Park, like how you all came together at the last meeting I saw with the Lions. Just, again, keep making Allen Park first, as Ray said about with grants and stuff. We need to keep supporting our city as much as we can. So just maybe a goal for that this year, each meeting, or once a month or once a week, go into a city, local business and stuff. But with that, thank you all for what you all do. I know it's a tough job. Been there. But I hope everyone has a healthy and a wonderful new year. Thank you.
Thank you.
For most of you, I don't need an introduction, but Angela Lovelock Larmy. And I'm actually coming up as a resident and a parent of student athletes. And I just wanted to give a huge shout out to the Allen Park High School wrestling team. We have Coach Dan over here. We had Coach Jake, Coach Mike, a bunch of assistant coaches. I know I'm forgetting their names. But for the first time, they brought home the Bob Lloyd first place in their wrestling tournament, which is a huge achievement for the wrestling team. And thank you again for the mayor to come out and support our student athletes. You know, I just kind of passed it along in passing, and she showed up, and I thought it was amazing to see her there, and everybody was very excited to see her. But congratulations, Dan.
Thank you so much.
If there's no one else coming up, we'll close public comments and move on to the consent agenda. This evening, that consists of claims and accounts and the payroll report. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Barr. Second by Mr. Marcos. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll pay our bills again.
That's good.
Moving right along, resolutions. Resolution 1, to approve the appointment of Tom Murray to the position of city administrator at a salary of $130,000 effective January 29, 2025. Motion, please. Motion by Ms. Nick.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lloyd. We'll read my memo. The position of city administrator was posted on the MML site. A total of 15 applied for the position. The HR committee interviewed 3 external candidates and Mr. Tom Murray, the interim city administrator. All council members were provided the resumes of the candidates that were interviewed. Following those interviews, the committee determined that Mr. Murray was the individual most qualified to assume the position of city administrator at this time. During his tenure as interim city administrator, he had to face a number of challenges, including ensuring the completion of the city's audit before the end of the year. He did so by identifying and promoting personnel who possessed the skills and knowledge to assist the auditors, as well as handling other financial matters in the absence of a finance director. With the recent appointment of a finance director, the committee felt it was especially important to retain Mr. Murray, who is familiar with city operations and budgets, is currently involved in shepherding major projects within the city, and has extensive experience in working with officials throughout the downriver. We are making the following recommendation. As we indicated, his annual salary will be $130,000. The position was posted with a range of 125 to 160. With this increase, he will not be eligible for a salary adjustment until July 1 of 2026. He will be eligible for all benefits which are part of the benefits plan for administrative and appointee employees as approved on June 11, 2024, and he will no longer be eligible for benefits provided to DPS employees. He will be eligible for an annual vehicle expense of $4,800, as was approved for the previous city administrator. In assuming the city administrator position, Mr. Murray will continue to serve on the DCC Brownfield Committee. He will also continue to serve on the American Public Works Association Board and will continue to serve as the One Water co-chair of the Great Lakes Water Association. The change in status will be effective January 29, 2025. Do I have any comments or questions from council members?
Through the chair.
Yes.
I just, to kind of reiterate and emphasize a couple of those points, we interviewed 4 candidates total, including Mr. Murray, and highly qualified with lots of experience, but the conclusion of the HR committee is, one of the big things that led that decision is that, as is evident from this audit today, is evident from our Parks and Rec 5-year plan, is that we're moving in a good direction as a city. And we felt that Mr. Murray is the person that is best suited to make us sure that we're continuing to move in that direction. That he is maintaining that stability. And also on top of that, the fact that Mr. Murray has 20 plus years, 23 plus with the city, starting off as a laborer with DPS, and then moving up into every position of that. So he truly understands every level of what it goes into making this city run. And when we were going through the process, we received a number of recommendations from current department heads and current employees, just stating the level, the quality of work, and the environment that he has created. So it was definitely a very, very good number of candidates, but next to Mr. Murray, I think he was the obvious choice. So I just wanted to emphasize that point.
Thank you.
Kind of to piggyback off that just a little bit, also I think came into play just the fact that, he stepped into the interim position and kind of, took the bull by the horns when we needed some stability, and also with the impending audit. I think him taking the reins at that time just showed his willingness to not only learn, but also work, and take on that responsibility in that position. So.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Just through the chair, I just wanted, in this memo, it mentions that he will not be eligible for benefits provided to DPS employees, which is true. However, he is entitled to a pension, which is based on a TPOM contract. So, you can't have him move up an administrator and then lose his pension, which he would have if he stayed in the DPS. So the way this was written, I just want everyone to understand that, well, that is true. He still gets that pension.
I should say the memo is not all-inclusive. There is an employment.
And there is an employment, which specifically addresses that.
So there you go.
Good point.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have a city administrator. Boy, are you in for it now. Resolution 2, to award the fire department's request for 2 D633 Circle Air hose and gear drying cabinets bid to the lowest qualified bidder, McQueen Equipment, at a cost of $21,844.27 from account 401336985000. Motion, please.
Motion, Mayor.
Motion
Second.
by Mr. Slack.
Second.
Second by Mr. Valerius. Chief O'Reilly.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I'm here requesting approval and acceptance of the formal sealed bid by McQueen Equipment for the purchase of 2 gear and hose drying cabinets. These 2 cabinets were designed and planned into the new station floor plan for venting and for electrical services. The 2 dryers will be replacing the current dryers that we have that are over 30 years old. Those dryers have seen the best of days and then beyond that. And they no longer heat. They're kind of just blowing cold air through, so it takes forever to dry any of our equipment. The new dryers will be able to dry our hose, which is cotton jacketed, so we have to dry it every time we use it. And then on top of that, these new dryers are very efficient, where they are able to dry our gear safely. So when we have commercial washers and dryers, but we cannot dry our gear in the commercial dryer. It has too many G-forces, which then damages the liners. So we have to hang those up and trying to blow air into them to get them dry so we can get the crews back into service quickly is always difficult. We do have backup sets, but it just takes time. So these new dryers will heat and dry, blow air through the gear safely so we can get them back into their frontline gear as quickly as possible.
Thank you. Any questions?
Through the chair?
Yes.
Chief, is there any value in the old dryers at all? I mean,
No, they, like I said, I've been there going on 27 years, and they were there quite a few years before I was.
Wow.
We've replaced we've replaced the motors a few times on them, but they are just old and barely running at this point.
Chair, are we gonna install these immediately, or is it like, I can't remember, we're gonna wait till we get to that point in the construction and then install them?
These will be installed into the new areas that were designed for them.
Cool.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, resolution is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 3 is to approve Fishbeck Engineering Services to start Phase 2 of the city's wet weather sewer study for fiscal years 2024-25 and 2025-26 in the amount of $114,570 from account 592-565-820-000. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Barr.
Second.
Second by Mr. Marcos.
Good evening. I'm requesting the authorization to contract Fishbeck Services to start Phase 2 of the city's wet weather study for fiscal years 24-25, 25-26. Phase 1 of the wet weather study started in 2021. Through smoke testing, the sanitary sewers in 22 and 23, excess inflow and infiltration was discovered. The city made the repairs over 2024, 2025. And Phase 2 of the wet weather study will call for the metering of the same areas from Phase 1 to recalibrate the hydraulic model that was created for the system prior to the repairs of the problem areas. And by doing this, we will have a much better understanding of our sanitary system capacity.
Anybody have any questions?
Through the chair.
Yes.
This study is something that's designed to help us. I mean, I know it's not gonna like solve basement flooding, but it just kind of like get a better handle of like how that's happening and addressing the issue.
Yeah, it's gonna let us know what our flows are at, how we're doing, like actually calibrating after the repairs were made, what our system is looking like, what condition it's in. So it'll give us an idea on going forward, what we might need to do, what our options are, things of that nature.
can I answer a little bit through the chair?
Yes.
It will come with recommendations when it's done, if anything is needed to be done to do what you're asking, to stop flooding basements, to stop something called sanitary sewer overflows, which is against the law, which every city seems to have. We're trying to eliminate them. This is gonna help us in that regard as well.
Give us a game plan for how we're gonna address it.
So in the price of Fishbeck is to also, after the study, part of it will be recommendations for the city to move forward on capital planning for any improvements needed.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions, we'll take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved. That's the end of the resolutions, and we now come to other business. I will ask for a motion to approve the first and second readings of proposed ordinance number 2-2025.
Motion, Mayor.
Motion by Mr. Lloyd. Second by Mr. Valerius. Any comments or questions?
Through the chair.
Yes.
So this is something that was recommended by our planning commission and our planner, Mike Auerbach. Essentially, what it does is that how it reads right now in our zoning is that there can be no special permits for parking given to any businesses. So like they have to have X amount of parking spots depending on the size, like the square footage of their business and all these other things that go into it. But there's some things that, like, you know, maybe if you're a daycare and you don't have all your parents coming in at one time, they're dropping off as you go, they might not need to have it, okay? So what this essentially does is it makes it so that the planning commission can essentially make a judgment call and say that, okay, this particular business might not need that many parking spots, so we can omit that. And so it's just better using the amount of land space that we have in the city and giving more flexibility to our planning commission to kind of be able to make those decisions on their own.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? If not, yes, Mr. Barr.
Dan, so that's on site, it's not the city public parking lots, right? It would be more like, you know,
So
I'm gonna use grants.
yeah.
ice cream.
So when you build a new building, you have to get a site plan. All right, and I'm looking at Joe for whenever I eventually make a mistake. In that site plan, you basically have to make sure that you're abiding by all the local ordinances, zoning things, all of the things that go for that. So this would be new construction. So let's take the Big B over on E-Course. When they made it, they came to a site plan, and that site plan said that they had to have X amount of spots in it. So it's not going to affect existing buildings. This is new construction.
It could. This is like another tool for the planning commission. But to answer your question, I mean, there may be some situations where they would permit, where there is public parking, they would somehow use that in making a decision to grant some type of waiver with respect to parking requirements. So they may not say, okay, you're authorized 5 public parking sites, but they may be saying because there's 5 public parking sites
nearby,
it affects the way we do this analysis here. Okay. So it has an impact. So this, it generally just gives the planning commission another tool, gives them more discretion. And there's also, this has to do with what's called regulated uses. So within a zoning district, you have some uses that are automatically permitted. Trying to think of an example. Like in a residential district, single-family homes, automatically permitted. But multifamily homes may be what we call a regulated use. So they're permitted, but they have to come in and they have to comply with some additional requirements. So we already have similar verbiage, or they have similar leniency in non-regulated uses. This just gives them that tool, that discretion. Matt, does that pretty much cover it? All right, thank you.
So in speaking non-legalese, it doesn't open up every parking lot or any business for anyone to park wherever they want, whenever, or however they want.
Oh, not at all. This, yes. Yeah. I try to in legalese.
Yeah.
No, or yes.
For those that are, okay, thank you.
Okay, so when they redid Mix, they talked about the parking across the street at the post office. Is that what you're talking about? Because they took away some of the parking. And then they talked about using.
I'm gonna try to bail you out best I can. Go ahead with your question with Mix. So yes, anytime there's a regulated use, any kind of major addition to a commercial building, it goes to the planning commission for review. Many times parking gets brought up. So what this allows the planning commission can make the decision. It takes the ZBA out of it. If they don't get approval from the planning commission for parking variance, they have to go to ZBA. This gives the planning commission the ability to review it, and they can make the decision. So it cuts a potential process out of having to go to the ZBA. And I think, Mr. Barr, you mentioned public parking versus private. It is taken into consideration if there's public parking within 300 feet of the building, but it can't cross a major road. So we call that deferred parking. So we can use that as part of the calculation as far as what the requirements are for parking. Mix, they are in compliance based on deferred parking, because there's a bunch of public parking there.
Thank you, Matt.
Yep. Anything else?
I opened up a can of worms.
No, you didn't.
No, it's
it's
a
good.
great question. I'm glad you asked it.
If there's no further questions, I will ask for the first and second reading, please.
First reading of proposed ordinance 02-2025, an ordinance of City of Allen Park Code of Ordinances, amending Chapter 52, zoning, Article 3, district regulations by the repeal and readoption of sections 52-239, 52-271, 52-305, 52-347, 52-386, and 52-541 to update the sections. Second reading of proposed ordinance 02-2025, an ordinance of City of Allen Park Code of Ordinances, amending Chapter 52, zoning, Article 3, district regulations by the repeal and readoption of sections 52-239, 52-271, 52-305, 52-347, 52-386, and 52-341 to update the sections. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I got the cart before the horse. I don't think we voted on that. You've done the first and second reading. We won't have you repeat it, but could I have a vote, please? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And if I did it once, we're covered twice. I will ask for a motion for the first and second readings of proposed ordinance number 3-2025. Motion, please.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Lloyd.
Second.
Second by Mr. Valerius. Comments or questions?
You want to take it, Dan?
Sure. Yeah, you want to? So
I don't care.
Essentially, all that this one is, it's always been prohibited to do ground feeding in the city of Allen Park. You just can't throw breadcrumbs on the ground. The reason that is that it attracts rodents, and that's bad. we don't like that. All that this does is that there was certain residents who had found rather crafty ways around that, this is to make sure that that the ordinance is enforceable. We worked with our ordinance officer, Ken Simmerly, to basically make sure that we can still put out our feeders, can still feed the squirrels and the wild birds. I'm a big bird lover, but you just have to do from an elevated feeder, not throwing breadcrumbs or seeds on the ground.
Or constructing feeding troughs.
Or constructing.
That are 48 inches off the ground.
Yeah.
Because the verbiage in the past ordinance was very vague in regards to the language, and people were finding a way to go around it in regards to building a 48-inch high feeding trough where you could dump 25 pounds of bird feed in it, and thus feeding not only every bird in Allen Park, but every rodent, rat, squirrel in the city as well. So the changes to the ordinance kind of take some loopholes out and make it more enforceable.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll have the first and second reading.
First reading of proposed ordinance 03-2025, an ordinance of the City of Allen Park Code of Ordinances, amending Chapter 6, Animals, Article 1, in general by the repeal readoption of section 621, feeding of wild animals and birds prohibited, except the feeding of birds and squirrels by means of an elevated feeder, to adopt a new section prohibiting the feeding of pigeons and seagulls, and to regulate ground feeding of wild animals and birds. Second reading of proposed ordinance 03-2025, an ordinance of City of Ellen Park Code of Ordinances amending Chapter 6, Animals, Article 1, in general by the repeal and readoption of Section 6-21, feeding of wild animals and birds prohibited, except the feeding of birds and squirrels by means of an elevated feeder, to adopt a new section prohibiting the feeding of pigeons and seagulls, and to regulate ground feeding of wild animals and birds. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we now come to elected officials' comments. And this evening, we'll start with Mr. Estheimer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As someone who works here at City Hall each day, I wish to offer my sincere thanks and congratulations to Tom Murray on approval tonight, on making him our city administrator. From the moment Tom stepped into that interim role, he hit the ground running, filling multiple roles. And in short order, has done an amazing job in providing a steadiness to the staff and department heads in what was certainly a troubled time. I appreciate his work and partnership and look forward to working with him now and into the future. Congratulations, Tom. Thanks to the DDA and the volunteers for the organization and execution of their recent membership dinner at Prestige Banquet Hall. This was a first dinner meeting that they've ever done, and I thought it was excellent. Also a great source of networking with fellow Allen Park downtown businesses. Several elected officials were there. And of course, Ben Hughes led the celebration. So congratulations to Ben. Also, as far as the DDA goes, a hearty congratulations to Fred Frank, who was elected by the DDA board to serve as its chairman for the 2025 year. I myself was a two-time past chairman of the DDA and had the honor of working with Fred my last few years on the board. He's very intelligent and appropriately engaged in the downtown, and I think he's going to do a fantastic job. The DDA has some exciting additions coming to the downtown area. I'm not going to spoil it, but let's just say the district will be booming this year. So you'll see what I mean coming in the spring. Congratulations to the other officers who make up the executive committee. I wish you all a great year. Lastly, congratulations to Mike's son, Matthew Mizzi, upon recently earning his Eagle Scout rank. Eagle Scout's the highest honor a Boy Scout can achieve. Matt is a terrific young man. He worked for me for a period of time. Way too smart for that job, so we had to kick him out. But no, he went to school, so we lost him there. But Matt has a great future ahead of him, so congratulations to him. And with that, I just want to say thank you all for coming out, and God bless you and good night.
Thank you. Mr. Mizzi.
He just stole my line. Thank you all for coming out. God bless you and good night. Thank you.
That's it, eh? All right, Mr. Barr.
Well, since the last council meeting, I've attended the library board meeting. The library is over 50 years old. It is in need of some major updates. We're trying to scale it back to the building changes that need to be done to alleviate a major tax burden because of the fire department, fire station bond. I too also attended that DDA get-together. It was great meeting everybody and seeing everyone. Congrats to Tom. Glad to be working with you now in an official capacity. I mean, it was official before, but more official. Charles, I have to give a shout out to Nana's Kitchen. It's on Pelham and Wick. That is a part of Allen Park, and I love their breakfast. So, to all those that have been with the extreme weather conditions this past couple weeks, I just want to let you know, as a council member, my street is usually one of the last ones to get cleared or salted. So we're all in the same boat together. Also need to give a shout out to the Allen Park Police and Fire Departments. Because of the weather, they've been working diligently with the traffic accidents and other events. A PSA though, motorists, please slow down. Observe and heed all the traffic control devices and put down the phone. I had a car today at Hanford and Allen. He just blew right through the red light. So, let's see. On a lighter side, there's a pasta dinner fundraiser at the Allen Park Knights of Columbus tomorrow. Cost is $15. If you don't know where the Knights of Columbus is, it's on Champaign, pretty much across from the library, Peluche apartments. There's going to be included with your pasta, homemade meat sauce, garlic bread, and the world-famous salad. On a personal note, I need to wish my little brother a happy 55th anniversary or birthday. And finally, it's hard to believe, but Y2K was a quarter of a century ago. So, where has time come and gone? Stay warm, stay safe, and I yield.
Thank you. Mr. Schlack.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll try not to repeat too much, but it's going to happen, I think, from everyone up here. I'm going to start by saying thank you to Plante Moran and city staff that helped prepare that audit. Definitely appreciate all their efforts and to see, show, and display that our city's in good standing. I want to special congratulations to all the new commissioners that were appointed today and all the commissioners that continue to serve. I want to state as my role as the liaison to the beautification. Look forward to helping them, and I hope all those come out, especially for Good Neighbor Saturday and all future cleanups. It's especially important that they get around, and they do get around to every part of the city. It's not just in one location or another. I want to thank Ben Hughes and his leadership for the DDA reception that I did attend, and got to meet quite a few business owners that were in attendance. Got to hear some things that they would like to do in the city, things they have done in the city. It was all around good fun. I spent a good 2 hours walking around and mingling and talking, so definitely appreciated that. Let's see. I want to thank Rob Fulton and his leadership in Parks and Rec and the 5-year plan. Definitely enjoyed reading what I have read so far, but I'm going to dig into it a little more deeper. Want to thank those that came up here. I want to thank always the police and fire department for all their, as my colleague said, about with the weather conditions and the extra phone calls and that they have and overtime. So I'm definitely very appreciative of everything that they do and always do. And I definitely want to thank Fred Frank for becoming new chair. I did see that he's going to be serving again after 2 years of as a commissioner, got reelected that capacity, so I'm sure Fred will serve that capacity. Finally, I want to congratulate Tom Murray for becoming our city administrator. I had the good fortune of meeting Tom when I first started on council, and I remember talking to him initially when he said he started on as a laborer to now becoming a city administrator. I don't think that was on his bingo card, so definitely congratulations. I definitely look forward to continuing that relationship, and I have full confidence in Tom Murray to lead that ship. So congrats, Tom. I have to say one other congratulations to the wrestling team. I did not know they won that competition, or that their coach here, Dan, of leading that team. So congratulations to the wrestling team and every team in all our schools, Southgate, Elm Park, Melvindale. So keep going at it as time winds down before those seniors graduate. So, and I think with that, I yield. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Lloyd.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to start off with extending a thank you to the mayor for coming out and supporting the wrestling team this Saturday. Meant a lot to me, meant a lot to a lot of the kids. You know, it was a very big deal for that home tournament for our team. We've never won it in the 15 plus years that we've been doing it. So thank you so much, Mayor, for coming out and supporting us. It means a great deal. I also would like to thank Tom and Jackie Baxter for all the work that they did getting this audit ready. I don't think that people in the general public fully understand. I know that Plante Moran comes in here and does this work, but it's truly a partnership with the city and them to get that done. And so, especially Tom being thrown into that position, he learned a ton of stuff along the way to make sure that we got this done and to get the clean decision by Plante Moran. That's a huge accomplishment, and very, very much looking forward to Tom's leadership. I was able to meet with Tom while he was still an interim. You know, I guess he still is today, but tomorrow not. But we were talking about, you know, it's hard to plan for the future and start enacting and getting things going while you're in a temporary position. So I know Tom is very excited tomorrow to hit the ground running and start thinking about the future and these big things. So I'm very excited what the future will hold. Big thank you to Parks and Rec, to Rob, Kyle, and Aaron, and the commission. I know that they worked a great deal on this 5-year plan. And honestly, I think it's funny, as Rob said, you got to put your armor out on when you go and you ask people, the public, what their opinions on things. I was reading through some of those comments, and they're pretty humorous. But it truly is, especially having a 2-year-old. Last year and a half, I've spent more times in the parks than I have since I was, 13. So they really do an excellent job. I've attended a number of those lemonades in the shade. The gentleman that comes out with his guitar, he does a great job, gets the kids entertained, and so being the parent of a small child, I greatly appreciate the effort that they are putting into making sure that there's stuff for young families to do around the city. And then also as a teacher and a coach in the district, just very appreciative of the partnership that they have with the schools, making sure that it's not just the little kids, but it's kids of all age. We're getting them involved and giving them something to do. So those efforts are very much appreciated. And take those negative comments with a grain of salt. I know you do. I would, lastly, so this is something, it's a little bit emotional for me, but Joel Berkey, he's fine. I'll start by saying that. He is a government teacher at Allen Park High School. And he just announced that he will be retiring at the end of February. For those of you guys that don't know, Joel Berkey, along with Bob Lloyd, they designed a class called Impact on Government. The whole idea behind the class is that the biggest impact that you can have as a citizen on government is at the local level, and that in turn, the biggest impact that government has on your life is at that local level. So the class does a lot of things that aren't in the state standards. It teaches kids how mills work. All right, which is, not necessarily the easiest concept. How your property taxes are calculated, about Headley and like the state constitution. Teaches them about a weak mayor versus a strong mayor. He actually he has a whole unit where he talks about how Allen Park ended up in receivership, how we ended up with that dirty word that we will not say up here. But things like that are hugely, hugely important, and something that I think that everybody that is attendees of city council members, city council meetings, one of the requirements for that class is that each quarter you had to attend a city council meeting. So that is something that after Bob Lloyd retired in 2018, Joel Berkey continued to do, and I think that everybody here will attest that that is something that is hugely important. I know that there is elected officials that got their start in Allen Park politics because they were required to come to these meetings, that their older brothers were required to come to these meetings. And I hope that it continues with his retirement. However, I do know that that was something that was a personal passion of his. So I'm gonna talk to whoever comes in, just so everybody knows that's not my class. I don't require my students to come. That'd be a conflict of interest. But hopefully that does continue with whoever comes in and takes over that role. But I just want to take a second and just give a big appreciation to Joel Perkey and educating an entire generation of Allen Parkers. So I would like to end with that. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan. Ms. Nick?
Okay, well, you guys have covered quite a bit of what I was gonna say, but I do have some different things. So I just want to welcome the new commissioners. It's nice to see that we're gonna have more commissioners on the Festivities, which is the street fair committee, because it was pretty rough this last year with just a few of us. But for Charles, when he was talking about Barb actually was on the commission for 42 years. It's a long time. But she still wants to help out. She's still gonna help with artifacts and things like that, so we still got her around for a while. And she lives right across the street, so she can watch the museum too. I was gonna say, the Glass Onion, on January 19th, they celebrated their 9 years here in the city, so congratulations to them. Also at the high school, the Allen Park School Boys Swim and Dive Team. 5 of their boys qualified, and they're gonna be representing the high school at the Michigan Interscholastic Swim Coaches Association. So good luck to you this weekend. Hope you win. And then a prior meeting, we announced a contest where we were having businesses and homes decorate their homes to support the Detroit Lions. So I just want to thank everybody who donated prizes and everybody who decorated, and the #1 prize went to Annie Zagunas. So she got the membership for the Henry Ford Museum. So again, and then Polly, who's on the Allen Parker, she was the one that hosted the contest and kept track of everything, so I want to thank her for that. As far as new businesses, the one it's across from the hill, it's over by Little Caesars and Big B Coffee. They're called the Nothing Bundt Cake. So I haven't tried it yet, but I've heard it's really good. On Monday, February 3rd, they're doing an appreciation day. So anybody who's a healthcare worker, first responder, or military, if you go in there, you're gonna get a free little buntlet. So I'm assuming it's like a little cake. And then the Allen Park Library, I was reading something on there. They have a lot of different really good programs, if nobody has gone on their website and looked at other programs. But this is for adults, and it's called Once Upon a Crime. And if you stop by the library, they're gonna give you, it's a fingerprint reading log, and it's actually, you do a scavenger hunt throughout the program. So this is for adults from January 21st to March 28th. So that sounded pretty interesting. And then on Wednesday, February 5th, from 5 to 8, if you go over to Culver's right over here, some of the proceeds will be going to Lindeman Elementary PTA. So those are kind of what's going on in our city. Oh, and also too, I just read the Allen Park Police Department will soon be relaunching the Code Red. And so if you were on it before, you should still be active. So I just jumped on it today because I wasn't on it before. And this is a notification system that can be, sends out calls, texts, and alerts regarding active police situations, school issues, and snow emergencies for us. And you text the word keyword to 99411. And it's for a Code Red, Public Safety Alerts. So I do want to thank Tom Murray for everything that you have done. I knew you when I worked for Parks and Recs, and I always respected you. You always treat me professionally and with respect, even sometimes when we didn't agree on things. But I just want to say I'm very happy that you are a new city administrator, and so welcome aboard. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Mr. Valerius?
I had this whole 4 pages of stuff. I'm just going to go into the summarized version. So I just wanted to thank Tom again. Happy that you're going to be serving as our new city administrator. I also just want to give shout outs to all our department heads and city employees who took on all the extra tasks and roles during this period of transition, just to ensure something as important as our audit was filed on time and that we didn't get penalized for filing it late. One, I guess, classic example of all the stuff that I had written down, but then I just came to me. I attended the Parks and Rec meeting last night, and, networking and just reaching out and trying to get stuff done. every department has a budget. They, you know, as the auditor said, you know, they've been sticking to that budget and getting things done. But, you know, I'll just give you an example of certain things that happen that, you know, shows the dedication of employees to go above and beyond and also try to get things done where initially it doesn't cost anything. So an example, and I'll give a shout out to Kyle Carr. He made connections in Brownstown. Brownstown's closing 2 of their diamonds. There's poles and lights that they basically aren't going to use. He's got a tentative agreement to actually get possession of those, and the plan is to light up Diamond 3 at Champaign Park. And basically, other than getting them wired and everything else, the equipment and everything else is basically free, basically. So again, it's things like that. You know, we get a whole diamond lit up just from taking someone else's stuff that is still operational and in good shape. You know, goes far in regards to that. I had an opportunity on Saturday, you know, speaking of Dan, congratulations, you and your wrestling team. Event that really touched my heart as a special education teacher. They had a Downriver League unified tournament, basketball tournament at Lincoln Park. Number of Downriver schools involved, including my home school of Woodhaven. They had Lincoln Park, they had Wyandotte. Again, this is like a Special Olympics unified sports team event. And they're not very well attended, other than, you know, friends and family. But man, I tell you, when these kids saw me and other people in attendance, it's just, it really affects you in a very, very special way. So supporting these teams, it's their opportunity to play sports that they love to play in an organized format, and to get recognized for participating in athletic events. And it's remarkable. I've been to bowling tournaments through the unified program. And this basketball team event or tournament was really, really amazing. So I just wanted to share that with you. And with that, thank you all. Have a good night. And I yield.
Thank you. Mr. Marcos.
Oh, good night.
That's why I love Dennis.
Okay, congratulations, good job. Welcome. I know you're going to be the best.
Extremely summarized.
Okay, we're cutting this down just a little. I had going through my craziest stuff of the day. I found something pretty strange. I had lunch with my 3 of my grandchildren, and we had blueberry. We went to Cracker Barrel. Had blueberry pancakes, and wouldn't you know it, today is Blueberry Pancake Day. So I thought that was crazy. Then I got a cat on Monday. Had to go through a battle to get a cat, and we named her Daisy. Black cat, of course. Today is National Daisy Day. I did not know that. I mean, this was just pure coincidence. And I could tell you a story, but it might not be appropriate. It's about, does anybody know what a kazoo is? You know what a kazoo is, right? Yeah. You know that it's kind of a toy, not a real musical instrument, okay? So I worked in the music store for a long time, so I'm gonna tell you a story about the kazoo. These guys, this is like probably 1970, so a little while ago. Guy comes into the music store, and myself and another guy are working, the counter, and it's Saturday night about 8 o'clock. And this guy comes in, and keep in mind, it's around 1970, okay, keep in mind. And it's a music store. Guy comes walking in, hey man, I need to get me a kazoo. So we're standing there looking at each other going, okay, look at this guy kazoo. And he comes over to the counter, and we pulled out 2 boxes, one red and one blue. He says, well, what key do you want? If you're not a musician, you don't get it. He goes, oh man, it comes in keys? So anyway, that's my 3 things a day. Had to lighten it up a little bit. Be careful, stay warm. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Dennis. I will try and be brief here. I did want to mention that we were contacted by the well, I'm having a problem here. The Epilepsy Education Everywhere organization, who are there to raise awareness regarding epilepsy, which apparently affects 1 in 26 people, which was kind of an amazing statistics. They, like a lot of other organizations, asked if we could light up our building, but we can't always accommodate that. But I did indicate to them that I would raise awareness about their organization. And the fact is that they have designated February 10th as International Epilepsy Day, and their color is purple. If anyone is interested in accessing their site, please contact me. I think they've got a lot of good information on there for individuals, and if you or someone you know has epilepsy, I think it might be beneficial to you. I was very happy that someone had mentioned the Bob Lloyd wrestling tournament to me this weekend, because for one thing, it got me out of the house and out from behind my computer. Of course, we've all watched wrestling during the Olympics and that sort of thing. But I will tell you that I'm a people observer. And what I was really thrilled with, there were some great matches. And I have to tell you that Adeline Tuccini is the bomb, because both of her events, she pinned her opponent within a minute, I think, of the start of the match. And that was incredible to watch. But the other thing was watching the teams from the various schools and their interaction and the camaraderie between them. You had an event with Allen Park wrestling their opponent on one side of the gym, and you had teams from other schools on the others who were encouraging the wrestlers. I think you had a freshman wrestler, and they were really high on him, and it was just really fun. I was glad to be there, and I was amazed that this was the first time in the 15 years that Allen Park had won it, but thank you for inviting me, or letting me know about it at least. Again, when we talk about our employees and we talk about public safety, we always talk about police and fire. But I cannot emphasize enough the value and what our DPS department goes through. And I was reminded about it today because there was a posting on Facebook, and someone was very complimentary about some of the water and sewer department employees who were out taking care of a broken water main, and said, you know, we hope that the mayor appreciates them. And I posted that I very much appreciate them, and especially when you get into the winter months, when you've got a water main break and the temperature is 15 degrees, I don't think that's a profession that you want to be in. And their lives are sometimes more at risk than any other public safety, because once you get down in that hole and you're dealing with all kinds of things that you may not see in the middle of the night, they are to be commended, and we should be very, very grateful that we have the staff that we do in DPS, and a big shout out to them, and let them know how much they are appreciated. Everyone has given accolades. I'm thankful for the council members and everything that you're doing, the things that we are accomplishing. I'm very glad that we now have in place a finance director and a city administrator, and we can continue to move forward. I'm very grateful, in a sense, to that individual who should not be named, because in truth, the only reason I'm here is because of that advisory committee and people that I met there, and how I eventually became involved with my city. And so, depending on how you view me, there was a positive that came out of that. And I think that we've held you here long enough. Thank you all for coming tonight. And with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Valerius, second by Mr. Marcos. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. We are adjourned at 7:44.